Hello, so we're here with Jenna Short, the founder of Shortbread NYC, www.shortbreadnyc.com. And there we go, sampling some of her amazing cupcakes that she made for last weekend, actually. Hi, Jenna, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
Good. It's so wonderful to be here and to be sampling your sweets.
So great to have you.
Thank you. Everything is absolutely delicious. Jenna specializes in a lot of different sweets, but her specialty, I think, is this amazing shortbread, which I'm going to focus on right here. It's actually a hazelnut shortbread. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and how you make it?
The hazelnut in
Yes.
particular? Well, all of our shortbread in general starts with butter, but for vegan or dairy-free, we use Earth Balance. It has it's high in omega-3s, is obviously vegan, and in my experience, it bakes just as well, it spreads just as well, and we cut it in with whole wheat flour and use applesauce to sweeten, and roll it up into a little finger size, cook it, dip it in some vegan chocolate and some more hazelnuts, and there you go, hazelnut shortbread.
It's delicious. So I'm going to back up a little bit and ask you about how you started your company and what your inspiration was behind it.
Wow. I've been baking since I was a little kid. I used to come home from school and bake a dozen cupcakes and eat them all by myself. You know, eat away your bully issues. But I lived in Italy for a little bit. I took some baking classes there, and I moved to London, and I actually got a dairy allergy, so I started experimenting with different allergy issues as far as baking is concerned, and just started toying. I'm a graphic designer, so logos and branding, it's a hobby, not only a business. So I was like, all right, let me make up a logo for myself, and kind of the company followed that. Well, it's like, well, if I have a logo, I may as well have a company. And people started asking if they could pay me to make things because their son is allergic to nuts and their daughter's gluten-free, and I used to do it for free, and then the demand became too high, so I started charging people for it, and 3 years later I make money off of it.
That is so cool. And I had the pleasure of sampling some of your goodies that you have graciously laid out for me over here. Can you tell us about all of these things and what they are? And
it's a few things from the past day or two. We have the hazelnut shortbread, obviously.
Yes.
We have the famous peanut butter bars, which are gluten-free and vegan and oh so delicious. Just eat them right out of the freezer. They're amazing.
And I'm not even a peanut butter lover, and these things are awesome. I vouch for that.
Like peanut butter crack. Chocolate chip cookies that are dairy-free and whole wheat, sweetened with agave. These are vanilla cupcakes and red velvet cupcakes, both with the same frosting because they're vegan, and then just topped with Pac-Man and cassette tapes because we had a little bit of an 80s theme here.
Adorable.
Mini donuts, kind of taste like a giant Fruit Loop, but who doesn't love that?
Never a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. Blueberry cheesecake white chocolate truffle pops.
Wow.
And last but definitely not least, gluten-free chocolate caramel coconut Bleu de Sel bites.
Very nice. And I had the pleasure of sampling some of these things, and I can't wait to dig into some of the other ones. You talked about some of the special diets that you try to accommodate. Can you tell us a little bit about the ingredients that you use to make your sweets taste so delicious without compromising on the quality and the special diet requirements?
I've always found, if you think about all the natural things, like great spices and herbs, cinnamon or fruits, apples and bananas, all these natural things are here for a reason. If you take dates, for example, and you boil them in some honey or some agave or even in water, you extract so much sweetness out of it, and you can use that in a recipe. When it calls for milk, use water. When it calls for oil, use applesauce. There's so many great substitutions that you can use that really cut down on the calories, fat, and it tastes just as great and less greasy on your hands for sure.
Absolutely. And what other questions? Can you share some ideas that you're working on right now for some new products and what the demand has been out there in terms of some of your sweet confections?
I think as far as new products, we've been working on making a whole bunch of different gluten-free items that are chewy. I guess a lot of people have said, I mean, when you buy store-bought things, they're taste like cardboard and they're crunchy. So we've been, experimenting with different ways of, some people don't have any dairy issues. So if you whip eggs and the butter and the sugar before you add it into anything else, it will add an extra chewy quality to it, make it less time. So there's a lot of experimenting that goes into it. We actually came up with a chocolate chip cookie last week that were phenomenal, and even after being refrigerated for a week, still stayed chewy. And we got some great feedback on that. So we work on stuff like that, that kind of the simple everyday things people like, muffins and cookies, and then, once every 2 weeks we do something crazy and fun for new blog posts, so that
Awesome.
some eye candy.
Absolutely. One other last question.